Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're looking at, well, you could call it a migration crisis in computing.
Yeah, it really is. We're talking about those, 240 million older computers?
Exactly. Machines that got sort of pushed off the Windows path because Windows 11 came with some pretty brutal hardware requirements.
Yep, tough demands.
So our mission today, find the best, most efficient home for these aging machines, where every single megabyte of RAM counts. We're comparing Ubuntu 25.10 and Zorin OS 18.
And both of these Linux options, they promise to bring old hardware back to life. But the real story, the thing that matters, is how they actually use that RAM.
Not just what the box says.
Definitely not. Because those paper specs, honestly, they tell you almost nothing about day-to-day performance, especially under stress.
Okay, so let's start there then. The official numbers. Ubuntu 25.10, the standard version with the GNOME desktop, officially asks for 4 gigs of RAM.
Right.
Whereas Zorin OS 18, which is built on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, that one only asks for 2 gigs officially.
Okay, hold on. Before we dive deeper, maybe we should quickly explain LTS and GNOME for anyone just switching from Windows.
Good point. Yeah.
So LTS means long-term support. Basically, you get security updates, stability fixes for years. It's like peace of mind, especially if you're new to Linux.
Right. Reliable.
And GNOME Desktop. That's the look and feel, the whole visual interface you click around in. It's how Ubuntu looks by default. And, well, it's kind of known for being
Resource hungry.
a resource enthusiast, let's say. And that's where a lot of Ubuntu's RAM usage comes from.
Okay, so that official 4 gig requirement for Ubuntu, what are people actually seeing? The community reports.
Yeah, the real-world numbers.
Yeah.
Consistently, folks are reporting Ubuntu 25% using somewhere between 2.1 and 3 gigabytes right after booting up.
Wow. Just sitting there doing nothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just idling. So on a 4 gig machine, you're already using those to your engine just to warm up.
Yikes. And Zorin OS 18, the Core edition specifically.
Totally different story. Users there are seeing like 900 megabytes up to maybe 1.1 gigabytes at idle.
So roughly half, less than half even.
Yeah. And Zorin gets there because they've really customized their version of GNOME. They've stripped out a lot of the bloat, the unnecessary bits.
But they keep that familiar look, right? The Windows-like feel.
Exactly. They kept the polish, but trimmed the fat. Pretty smart.
Okay, so idle is one thing. But what happens when you actually, use a computer? Start working. Our sources mentioned a stress test running Firefox with 60 tabs.
Yeah, 60 tabs.
I mean, is that realistic? 60 tabs sounds like you're deliberately trying to break something, or is it just to make a point?
It's definitely pushing it, yeah. It's designed to exaggerate the difference, show the breaking point clearly, and, well, it does that very effectively.
So what happened?
Under that exact load, the Ubuntu users, they reported hitting an 8 gigabyte RAM limit really fast, just boom, maxed out.
Whoa.
But the Zorin users doing the same crazy 60 tab test reported using around 2 gigabytes total, system RAM included.
2 gigs total versus hitting an 8 gig ceiling. That's a massive difference in practice.
It's a colossal difference. It's the difference between working smoothly and your machine grinding to a halt.
Okay, that's a serious check.
And it actually gets a bit worse if you look at long-term use, sustained stability.
How so?
Well, Ubuntu's standard GNOME environment, it has these documented issues called memory leaks.
Memory leaks?
Right?
Yeah, it's like the software takes memory to do a task, but then forgets to give it all back when it's finished. Little bits add up over time.
Like a dripping tap filling a bathtub.
Exactly. And eventually, the system gets sluggish, unresponsive, uses gigabytes it shouldn't, and you often have to completely restart it just to get that RAM back.
Ouch. And Zorin.
Zorin's customized version seems much better behaved. Fewer reports of that kind of gradual memory bloat during long sessions. It seems more stable over time.
Now, we should probably clarify something here. People often get confused by Linux memory reporting, right? It often looked like RAM is full.
Because of caching. Right, disk caching. It holds frequently used stuff in RAM to speed things up, but it's supposed to release that space instantly if an application actually needs it.
Yeah, think of it like a chef's prep station. A good chef keeps ingredients chopped and ready on the counter. That's Linux caching, using the space efficiently. Windows tends to prefer a cleaner counter, maybe less immediately ready.
Okay, nice analogy.
But even accounting for that full counter, that caching, Zorin still needs noticeably fewer baseline ingredients just to run.
So that Ubuntu 4 gigabyte requirement isn't just caching, it's real.
It feels very real. You genuinely need something close to that just for comfortable operation, which often means buying more RAM for an old machine.
Whereas Zorin's 2 GB
The app
recorded.
functions smoothly. It actually runs well within that lower limit, so you can often keep your machine running as is, no extra cost.
So, okay, let's boil this down for someone trying to save an older computer. What's the main takeaway?
I think the core finding is pretty clear. Zorin OS 18 just gives your limited RAM way more breathing room. It's more efficient.
So the choice becomes maybe spend $50 on a RAM upgrade just to meet Ubuntu's baseline.
Or you choose smarter, more optimized software like Zorin from the start and potentially save that money and hassle.
Smarter software versus spending on hardware.
Pretty much. And, that leads to a final thought, maybe a bit provocative.
Go on.
Why are these official spec sheets so different from the reality we're seeing in user reports?
Yeah.
It feels like those spec sheets, the ones everyone looks at first, they might be, well, maybe not telling the whole truth about real-world performance. They might be nudging you towards a hardware upgrade you don't actually need if you just pick the right software.